As it was promised a couple of months ago, now we're in July and we're already starting the chase for Leminisi Gold-Wing, which is the next, or the current, in this case, free champion that we're all gonna get just for logging in the game together with up to the 5-star red star of ascension for the champion, just logging in and doing the missions. Is she good? Is she bad? What is she capable of doing? Let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another raid video. In this case we're gonna talk about Leminisi and we're gonna see exactly how can we gear her, where can we use her, and the main important, because we all know that she's a nuker, she's a champion designed to deal damage, how well she performs and how much damage is she capable of doing. In this case, it's obviously there's gonna be a comparison between her and other free legendary champions that we've had in the game, like Sun Wukong, like Alice, like, well, Loki, not really, because it's not really on the same league, that's a different thing. Let's say, for example, Alice, which is the most recent champion that it was given for free, and how they both perform, or how these kind of champions perform, and what is the role. Just as a quick recap to go through her kit, I want to say first of all that she fills a role that was quite needed. She, like I mentioned, is a damage dealer, a champion designed to deal damage, and in this case she is part of the Sylvan Watchers faction, which is a faction, if we look at the legendary champions, if we have a look at all the different legendary champions and we're trying to look for damage dealers, there is not that many. I mean, Elva is not, Galkovar is not, Oela is not. Kawilte, yeah, he can be another damage dealer, is a bit more specific to counter certain of the champions. Ruark, Searsha, Ostrid, Glycat, none of this is a nuker. Leminisi, like I said, damage dealer, she is indeed not Lady of Ireth, not Feral, not Padraig. Kaldor he is, but he's also a very hard one to get because he's the champion, is the Unity champion faction of the faction. Valar, again, kind of fills the role, but he plays a bit more with the poisons, but also is a new champion that came last month. Ailil, he definitely is, but again, Void legendary champion, so is Arathea, also another one of the latest champions added to the game in the last couple of months, but it's a faction that doesn't have many damage dealers. If we compare it with, for example, I don't know, the Demon Spawn, where we have Hefrag, Scorit, Candraphon, Sisia, Volcanoes, Mortu, more or less, yeah, I mean, Mercy Deep is a damage dealer. Chesarkat, Grakos, Krutraxai, Nithue, Chalco, I mean, you get the point. It's a faction that it doesn't have many damage dealers, and in this case, even if it's for faction wars, she's gonna be great, because we need to deal damage somehow, and it's not the faction with the most amount of champions. Even in the epics, I mean, yeah, you can use Kellan, yes, you can use, I don't know, Daithi maybe, Ruela is more a debuffer, I mean, Wisteri, I think she was a damage dealer, yeah, attack based. Same with Diana, Gloompiercer, also another damage dealer, but in terms of like hard-hitting damage dealer champions, there is not that many, and here is where Leminisi comes in. Leminisi the Gold-Wing. In terms of stats, pretty standard, okay? Basic attack, basic defense, HP, speed, I mean, it's pretty simple. All damage dealer champions are gonna have a very, very similar pattern. If we compare her with Alice, which is here, you can see a very similar pattern, around 16,000, around 1,500 attack, normally around 1,000 defense, around 100 speed. They're very, very similar. However, I think that Alice, in this case, she fills a much more important, or better said, versatile role than Leminisi. Let's do a quick recap on the skills and see how do these work and where are the possible scenarios where we could maybe use her or need her. On the A1, attacks an enemy 2 times. If the target is under a shield buff, each hit has a 25% chance of decreasing the value of the shield by 10%. This first part, I don't get it. I think it's very, very stupid. I don't think it makes any sense, because it's, let's say we have a shield that is 100,000 HP type of shield, and we hit the shield and we deal to the shield 20,000. The shield is going to be reduced by a 20% because we are hitting. However, it says like it will decrease the value of the shield by 10%. You know what else decreases the value of the shield? Damage. So we care about the multiplier of this skill, how hard this skill hits, not the actual size of the shield, because we're gonna get rid of it. Maybe decrease the duration of the shield, maybe increase your damage, or for example, what it does on the second part of the skill, that is, if the target is not under shield buffs, each hit will ignore 10% of the target's defense instead, which is great. This is what we want from damage dealers. We want to ignore defense. You know what else decreases the shield faster? Ignoring defense, because equals more damage and equals less shield. So from the A1 is very simple, is very weird, and what I think is more important to just remember is that if the target is not under any shield, we ignore 10% of the target's defense, which is great. So we can either try to hit champions with shield, or even better, try to hit the ones without shield, because we're going to be ignoring defense and dealing even more damage. The A2, her A2 is, I would say, the more important skill. It's a very powerful skill that does the same as a relic, but in a way better way. It says attacks an enemy 2 times, each hit has a 100% chance, which is good, of removing 2 random buffs from the target. Will also ignore 50% of the target's resistance if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. Okay, well, means if we're fighting against corrupted enemies, we need less accuracy. And then this is the key. If this skill deals more damage equal to the value of the target's current turn meter, and it stacks up to 100%. This, what it means is that if we're targeting an enemy with a 50% turn meter, so with half of the turn meter bar filled, we're going to be dealing with this skill of 50% more damage, which is quite a lot. If we attack an enemy with a very filled turn meter, like fully turn meter, just about to take a turn, this skill is going to be dealing 100% extra damage, which translates as a lot. It's a very similar usage, it's a very similar scenario that if we use, I think it's this one, yeah, this one, Essence Quencher. The wearer's damage is increased by 20% of the target's current turn meter. So if the enemy has a full turn meter, we're only going to increase this extra damage by 20%, which is not that much. But in the other case, Leminisi is taking the whole turn meter. If the turn meter is 80% extra damage. So you can combine both, of course, but this one, like fully maxed, is going to give you a maximum of a 30% of the current turn meter, while Leminisi just taking the full turn meter and applying it as extra damage, which is going to be probably the most interesting hit that we're going to see from her. That's all about it. Yeah, that's all about it. On the A3, attacks all enemies 2 times, and this is kind of the more, I don't know, AoE damage, not control really, but AoE hit and certain debuffs that are gonna help us in certain scenarios, but not that many, because heal reduction and block buffs are not 2 of the most looked after buffs. It's not decrease defense, it's not weaken, it's not shatter, it's not enfeeble, it's not, or they're not 2 powerful debuffs. You can place them in some bosses and have certain synergies, but overall, on Arena, they're not the best. On Waves, they're not really that necessary. Maybe, I don't know, hard faction wars, something like that. But all in all, not the most interesting. So as we can see here, attacks all enemies 2 times. With books, this is 100% of placing heal reduction and block buffs. And if the enemies are from the Corrupted Alliance, we need less accuracy. So we know that this champion is a damage dealer, so we know she is gonna need attack, crit rate, crit damage, and also we know that she's able to apply debuffs, hence we're gonna need certain amount of accuracy. As a passive, it receives a 15% less damage from enemies under heal reduction. 15% is not that much of a damage reduction, and fills this champion turn meter every time an enemy receives a shield or a buff. Sorry, a shield or a heal. And then fills this champion's turn meter by 5% whenever an enemy receives a shield buff or is healed. So it's not too bad. The problem is the usability. It's like, where are we gonna see her? Like, so far we've seen damage to one enemy, ignoring a little bit of defense, and 2 debuffs, heal reduction and block buffs. And just to go quickly before having a look at the champion, where are these things useful? I mean, Iron Twin Fortress, not really. Here what we're looking for is either damage, scaling of enemies max HP, or maybe decrease speed. That's one of the easiest ways of dealing with them. Ice Golem, we need on the normal form, we need poisons. On the hard difficulty, we need HP burns and activate these HP burns, and Leminisi doesn't do neither of them. Dragon Lair, we need poisons, and she doesn't do that either. Sun Devil Necropolis, neither. Phantom Shogun, I don't see much use. Fire Knight, yes, we do have 2 hits in the A1. We also have decrease the healing reduction, which is also can be also useful, but mainly what we want here is multi-hits and decreased turn meter. And on the hard difficulty, what we want is multi-hits and freeze on the A1. So again, not really an optimal champion for Fire Knight. And on the Spider, I would say neither. Here we need max HP damage, here we need HP burn, we need activate HP burn, maybe even Hex, maybe even, I don't know, big shields. I mean, there's a couple of different things that we can beat the Spider. Leminisi does none of them. In the event dungeon, I'm gonna say not really. I mean, there's only 4 weeks left of this event. In 4 weeks, if you see this video later, it's not gonna be relevant, so there's not much point. Minotaur, yeah, maybe. I mean, we need damage here anyways. So as you can see, it's not really meta, is not going to really bring anything interesting to the team. Faction Wars, like I said, yes, because she's a damage dealer for the faction and they don't have many. Arena, again, neither. Single target damage dealers, we have quite a lot. The A3, the debuffs that she's applying, they're not really meta or really needed on Arena either. Doom Tower, yes, maybe. Waves, like I mentioned, like hitting on the waves can be interesting. Curse City, again, if we can use her, she can be useful. And clan bosses, and in the clan bosses, here is where I can see certain niche, certain use. Demon Lord, not really. I mean, she doesn't bring anything that any other champion, even epic champions do. However, in Hydra, I think she can be quite useful, but mainly for early games account. Hydra is like normal, hard, something like that, because of the A2 damage that can be pretty interesting just to, I don't know, kill a head or save a champion, something like that, or even on the A3 with the block buffs can also be quite interesting in case we don't have already a champion who does it. In the harder difficulties, to be honest, I don't see her. I don't think she brings anything to the table, or at least not that much to the table to replace her with any other champion. And the Chimera, probably neither. I don't think she brings much to the table either. So let's have a look at her and the kit and how I've geared her. However, I have her ascended to 5 stars. Why? Because I think it's going to be pretty easy to get the 5 stars. They're going to be free for everyone, and I think what you would like to see here is kind of the maximum potential. I do have the 6 stars, I mean, we're in the test server, I have the 6 star, but they're not going to be free. Up to the 5th star, it is going to be free, because the game is just going to give them to us just by playing exactly in the same way that happened with Alice. So if you can grab the 5 stars, it's not too much effort, and it's going to significantly increase her stats. And this is how I have her geared. I went for, I mean, we know it's a damage dealer, so we're going to need ignoring defense. We know she needs attack because that's the stat she scales off, so attack over here. Crit rate, we need to get it to 100%. And then Stone Skin, just because I think I had this piece somewhere that had critical damage and certain accuracy, but it's going to be pretty easy to simple because we basically need crit rate, because it's going to be a damage dealer on the gloves, accuracy, attack, critical rate, speed, and that's about it. I'm going to attack here, triple roll speed, triple roll crit rate, speed, crit rate. I mean, it's going to be pretty standard for all the damage dealers. Very, very similar, same exact kind of gear or same exact kind of champion, of profile of champion as it was Alice, which I don't know where she is now, but I'm going to find her, because she was exactly the same. Here you have exactly the same, she's missing the shield, but the idea you get the same. We're trying to get 100% of crit damage, crit rate, as much crit damage as we can, as much accuracy as we can, and as much attack and speed as we can. However, I would say there's a small secret, there's a small trick here to her kit to make her even more powerful and make her deal even more damage. There's two things. The first one is the blessing, because we're gonna have up to 5 ascension stars. The best one is Nature's Wrath. Why? I mean, up to 5 stars. It's gonna be from 1 to 5 is gonna be Nature's Wrath, because we increase the damage inflicted by this champion by 3% for every debuff they place successfully. And we do AoE hit and we place 2 debuffs, so it's gonna be very easy to cap this. It's gonna be very easy to max this to a 15% extra damage, just because. I mean, just A3 and that's it. After the A3, we know the A2 is gonna hit even harder. That's one thing. If you have the 6 stars, if you, I don't know, pull them or something, you should go with Crushing Rend, because it's one that is going to be it's going to be ignoring defense all the time, and it's great for PvE, it's great for PvP, and it's going to increase a lot the damage we're dealing. But only on 6 stars. If it's not 6 stars, go with Nature's Wrath. On the other hand, same exact idea, and that's what I'm going to use her with Irethi Coronet. Why? Because we increase the damage depending the amount of debuffs. So this stacks up to 30%, this stacks up to 15%, plus what we're going to be dealing in terms of the A2 depending on the enemy's turn meter, the debuffs over here, the A1 over here, so we're going to be seeing quite a lot of damage. In terms of masteries, I think these are the best ones to go. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We need accuracy, so there we go. And on this side, we go with Helm Smasher because she's a damage dealer and we need to ignore as much defense as possible to hit as hard as possible. So like any other champion, I'm gonna take her to the Dragon 23 because it's Void Affinity, and we're gonna try her out to see how much or how is her damage. Now considering it's 5 stars. I tried it on my Spanish channel. I tried her basically same exact way with 5 stars Ascension and without 5 stars Ascension. And the increase in damage was about 50-60%. I mean, it's quite a lot. We're gonna have a look, for example, at the A3, remember, double hitter, and we're going to be applying a lot of debuffs, which is going to increase the damage of our next hit. There we go, 1 and 2, 142, 126, so around 200k, give or take, more or less, is going to be doing the A3, which, to be honest, is not that much. 200k double hitter with a couple of debuffs is not that much. Now we're going to see the A1, we increased a bit our damage now because of the Irethi Coronet and because of the Blessing, and the A1 is again double hitter, 152,000 or 154,000 is not bad for being an A1. Keep in mind that we're ignoring is 2 hits and we're ignoring a 10% on each of them. So we're already starting to stack up damage, like I said, because of the Blessing, because of the Relic. We're gonna have a look at the A2. This is what I think the most important skill on her kit, because we need to target here the enemy, and I could even not do it now and do it later to compare, that if we're trying to hit these guys over here, for example this Lua over here on the right, she has around 50%, maybe a bit less, 40% of the turn meter, which means this skill is gonna deal 40% extra damage. This is gonna escalate quite a lot because, you know, we're stacking damage and damage and damage, and it escalates quite a lot, but I'm gonna do a double hitter. You can see 385 is enough to kill her, but it was a second hit coming, so this A2 hits pretty hard, but it's gonna hit even harder depending on what enemy we're targeting. If we're targeting an enemy with a lot of, with the turn meter very filled, is gonna be definitely a hard hit. And the A1, you can see again 150, 136, so pretty solid in terms of damage. Let's clear this wave, let's go against the Dragon. Let's get rid of these two, one over here, see 162, 100 and something, so around 300k is not that much, but it's not bad, and it's easy to scale it, and it's easy to start accumulating extra damage, extra damage, extra damage. Here what I want to show you is this extra damage in terms of turn meter. He's around 50%. I just saved the skill, now it's around 65%. It's around 75 or 80, now it's a bit higher. So let's try with the double hitter, let's go with it, and you can see that this is a serious amount of damage. 332 and 400 is around 7-ish, around 800,000, which is solid damage. It just depends on if we're targeting the enemy with the highest turn meter, with the lowest turn meter, and it's just extra damage. Sadly, it doesn't do much more. I mean, we can apply some more debuffs. You can see the A3 is not too hard hitter. The A3 is not going to be our main skill. The A2 is our main skill. The A1 is nice, the multiplier is not bad. It's around 300,000 on the A1, depending on if we were ignoring defense or not, but it's a solid hit. I think we're going to be able to see another pretty solid hit now to have in comparison with the previous one. We have almost 100% of turn meter of the dragon. I think before I said around 403 something, so between 750 and 800,000, and now with even more turn meter, you can see here 450 and 571, so we're already almost in 1 million damage, depending on how much turn meter does the enemy have. And that's going to be the key. I mean, the A1 is not bad, the A3 is not bad, the A2 is the hard hitter. I think on the A2 she definitely hits harder than Alice, but in terms of usability, in terms of where can we use it, I think Alice was providing a lot more value, basically because with Leminisi, yeah, we just hitting the wave and that's it, applying a couple of debuffs, but Alice, on top of that, on top of the damage, she was able to lock enemies' skills, and I think that is more valuable than applying a couple of niche debuffs. Where I haven't tested it is on the arena. I don't think she's the best arena champion. Let's try here against Deadwood, for example. We don't need this one. I don't think they'll kill me, or I hope they don't kill me. Let's try, however, let's put here the UDK, just in case any enemy is trying to hit us. At least the UDK is going to take a hit, but we're going to be able to see here, I hope, that the damage we're dealing on the A3 is not that much. Well, maybe in this case it is double hitter, but you can see 46, 32. It's not that much. We're not seeing 200,000 double hitter like other champions, like other damage dealers. Let's try another one. Let's go with, I don't want to go with anyone crazy complicated, but you know, that's the thing with the test server. None of these guys are really easy fights. I mean, +4, 6 stars He-Man. I mean, let's give it a try, but I don't have many hopes. Basically, because what I want to show you here is that she doesn't hit that hard. I mean, yeah, she does, she has her things, but she doesn't hit that crazy hard. Let's try this one just as a last one, and I probably shouldn't be using Warlord because I don't think he has gear, but let's try anyways. I mean, again, against Stone Skin, what do we do against Stone Skin? We're not designed to pierce through Stone Skin, we don't apply anything super powerful in this case, so it's not going to be the best champion for arena. A2, 1, 2, okay, that were probably pretty weak, but around 50, 40, 1,100 damage, just because it's an AoE attack. But I'm sure there's a lot of other champions that with the same amount of gear, with the same amount of stats, they can do the same thing. So all in all, is she great? Not really. I mean, she's free and she's about a solid 6, 5.5, something like that. She can pull damage, yes, but anyone with good gear is also able to deal damage. Usability, very limited. Is she better than Alice or Wukong? I don't think so. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you think she's a great champion, if you think she's a pretty shitty champion. It's free, so at least at the end of the day, it doesn't take anything other than 1 slot in the vault. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Over here, a recommended one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.